It's hard to believe it, but it's just a week away from American Dream coming out. We've been
I know.
Finally new music from Diamante. Thank you so much for giving us new music. Thank you. I've listened to the record. I fucking love it. I've listened to it twice today alone. So fucking good.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm just, I'm both terrified but excited at the same time that it's finally coming out just because it's so personal.
It is. Are you also kind of nervous because it's a self-released album? It's an independent record. It's not on a major label. This is all you, it seems like.
Yeah, there's a whole different kind of pressure this time around. The first time, the pressure was like, really got to please everyone, please other people, please the label, do a good job. This time around, I can't mess up, because if I mess up, there's nobody to blame but me.
Right.
If it all goes down.
Oh my God, yes. You talked about it. This album is one of the most personal albums I've heard in a really long time, and I get a lot of albums. So, I like a lot, and this is, you can tell that there is a lot of pain, a lot of heartbreak, and a lot of self-empowerment in these lyrics behind a lot of these songs. How hard was it to really put yourself out there in this way, in the vulnerability is through the roof?
I think during the process of writing my first album, that was especially hard, because I had always written these really fun and uplifting and not so serious songs. And then Howard Benson was actually the person who showed me that there's this whole new level of just power and intimacy when you do write from that vulnerable place, no matter how uncomfortable, no matter how painful, because that's what ultimately has people connect to your music and really resonate with what you're saying. So I realized the more I started doing this, the more I kind of felt this freedom in a way, and it was so cathartic. And so that's why when you listen to American Dream, the first couple of songs are from this place of heartbreak, because I was actually going through that at the time.
Oh, wow.
And I felt like I had to just get it all out there and release it, because it was so internal and so bottled up inside. And by writing it and turning it into a song and then ultimately releasing it into the world for everyone to hear, it's this super cathartic experience, and you let go of that feeling and you're able to heal and move on.
Absolutely. It has a completely different feel and vibe and energy than Coming In Hot had. That record was full of just rock anthems, and like you said, fun, just in your face, rock and roll.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of that on this record, but you hit it on the head. You really open the floodgates, and I feel like it's like a song like Unlovable is relatable to almost every metalhead and rock and roll fan that there is anywhere. And that song hits strikes a chord. I mean, that song is so just heart-wrenching and almost makes you cry listening to it. It's just so personal, man. How hard was it to put that song out there and put that pen to paper and with the music, and there's a lot of layers to that song.
That one was especially hard, and it's so funny because objectively I know that so many people must at one point in time have felt that way, that they were too hard to love, or it hadn't worked out with so many people that they get to the point where they say, well, maybe I'm the problem. And for so long I carried that insecurity, I guess, within me, thinking, man, I'm the only one who feels this way. I'm the only one who's this messed up that this is happening to me, because I wasn't sharing that. But now that I wrote it down, and the people who have heard it are telling me, yeah, man, I felt like that too, I realize now that it's so much more impactful that way. And when I first started writing the song, I wrote it with Taylor Carroll, and I was just saying, I want to write a really, really vulnerable song that talks about my deepest insecurity, which is my fear that I'm unlovable. And then he said, why don't we make that the title and just go from there? And it was kind of just like a floodgate of something I had been feeling for a couple years now, and it came out so quickly and so honestly, and I think you can really hear that when you listen to the song.
So one thing that a lot of fans don't really think about when they connect with the song is when they see certain songs live, the singer is and the artist a lot of times it's hard because sometimes you're going back and kind of reliving and revisiting certain songs and where they came from. Have you thought about what that song might look like if you ever played it live, or is that a song that might be too personal to ever grace the live stage, which alone is hard to think about just playing live at all right now because nobody's done it. But like when you sit down and think about what some of these songs could look like live, do you think that might be almost too hard to perform live, or what would that be like? Because fans don't think about like these are real personal songs, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I love challenging myself, and I know that singing that song live will be a challenge both emotionally because of the context of the song, and physically because it's just a hard song to sing in general. It's very belty, it's very up there. But I imagine like me rolling out a grand piano onto the stage and just playing that song, just me and the piano, and then rolling it back out. When it's having a really, really stripped down, intimate moment, because that's what the track is. Neil Sanderson had the idea to have no drums whatsoever, just my vocal and a piano and like maybe some violin, and that's it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Like that is awesome. Are you there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, I thought I lost you for a second. That is, well, you talked about the vocals on that song. It's so belty, and a lot of these songs showcase your vocals and your vocal range a lot more than you were able to do on Coming In Hot. Some of these songs almost have like a pop vocal style almost on some of these songs too, which is a really cool correlation between the rock and roll and then your vocal style. I mean, what was your reaction when you heard the final mixes back to some of these songs and heard really the range that you were able to explore and the level and power of the vocals that you were able to put out there? Because completely different than the debut.
Yeah, I didn't realize as I was doing it, but yeah, when I listened to the entirety of American Dream compared to Coming In Hot, the vocals on Coming In Hot, I think they're more one-dimensional in the sense that I kind of have the same approach in every song for the most part. And with this one, I think I was just tapping into different parts of my voice that I use all the time and have, like when I sing in my room or I'm getting ready to do my makeup in the bathroom. Like I sing differently, like depending on the nature of the song. And so I think I just did more of that this time around. And I'm so glad I did, because I think it makes the album a lot more dynamic. And when you get to those really low moments, I'm almost whispering, and it makes it so much more intimate. And you still have the belty parts, but then I was really playing around with switching into my head voice in and out, which is more of that pop thing. And it's such a cool juxtaposition with that hard guitar. So yeah, all around, I love how it turned out in the end.
Yeah, and I love how you still throw in the gritty, just like the gritty vocals at certain notes, which it keeps that the attitude is so good. But speaking of attitude, Unfuck You. Let's talk about. I love it. So, and on the surface, looking at it, like everybody's said, like, you know what? Okay, you're cool. Like, unfuck you now. You're cool. Like, fuck you, but not, unfuck you. You can unfuck yourself now. Like, where did that inspiration come from for that song? Because that's a fun one. Like,
it's so fun. I wrote that one with Lenny Skolnick and Joe Rickard, and Joe came into the writing session that day with this really awesome track that was heavy, but there was trap beats in it, and it was kind of dancey, and it was just more left field for me than what I normally use. And we started thinking about concepts, and at that time I was thinking, I have so many serious songs on the album, like it's kind of dark. It's very personal. It's very serious. I kind of want to have a song that's just ridiculous. And so that's where this song came about. And I was thinking, like, what is a title that's just so ridiculous that you haven't really heard yet? And that's where I thought of Fuck You. And it's kind of, like, on the surface, it's kind of just a ridiculous, funny song. But on a deeper level, it's about me calling myself out on all my past habits that were not healthy and just not good, and getting myself in trouble time and time again, and not learning my lesson, and just really holding myself accountable for what I was doing. And that's why, like, Fuck You has this cool double meaning. But yeah, it's just so much fun, and like the bridge is crazy, and when I do it live, I can't imagine how much fun that's going to be.
Speaking of live, you're doing Incarceration, hopefully doing Incarceration this year. Oh my God. I went to that, the last one they had in 2019, and it's in the running for like my favorite festival. It's so awesome just to have that building right behind, in between the main stage and the side stage. I mean, you haven't performed there at that festival because it's only been around for 2 years, and then it was Ink the Clink before that. How pumped are you to actually, festivals? Hopefully.
Exactly. I'm always tagging it with hopefully, because you never know,
right.
like what's going to happen anymore. But I've never played this specific festival, and I've only ever really played 2 festivals at all. Like I did Rockfest, and there was one other one in Detroit.
Oh God.
The name, but
there's so many of them.
I've only played 2. And the last year or so and the year before that, I would see the lineup for this festival called Incarceration. It always looks so cool. And so the fact that I might get to play it is so awesome, especially because the lineup looks insane.
Oh, my God. The last year I went was 2019. It was like Godsmack, Shinedown, and I don't remember the third. Five Finger was on it. And I was just like, it's so, and you can do tours of the prison, and then it's so fucking awesome. But I guess it's looking like touring might start up again this year, maybe at the end of the year. I mean, how much of a caged animal do you feel like right now? Because I remember the first time I saw you, I think was 2015 when you were touring with, I think it was Hinder and Full Double Jacket, I believe.
Yeah.
You played the Vogue Theater here in Indianapolis. I think it was on Father's Day even. And oh my God, like I remember seeing you when you were 2015, 6 years ago, and then fast forward to the the Breaking Benjamin 3 Days Grace Chevelle tour that you did. And everybody was really was like, I don't know if they were confused, because like I'm not kidding, I specifically went there, covered that show and photographed it because you were on the show, on the tour, and I hadn't seen you. I wanted to see the stuff from Coming In Hot live, and I'd seen everybody else a million times. I'm like, I'm here for the openers. Like I've seen Breaking Ben. I'm here for the openers. So, I mean, it's really cool to be able to see touring back up and to see you go from, that Hinder tour in 2015 with a completely different band to now where you're at right now. How much of Caged Animal do you feel like right now? Seeing touring like you can reach out, you can taste it, you can smell it, you can feel it. It's like right there.
Oh my gosh, you have no idea. Ever since I was like 18, when you saw me on the Hinder tour, I caught that touring bug, I caught that live show bug, and I've just been chasing it ever since, because I've realized that is my absolute favorite thing to do, is just get in a grimy van or a box truck and just, drive to city every night somewhere different and play shows. And that tour with Breaking Ben and 3 Days Grace and Chevelle was like the coolest thing I've ever done in my life. I can't wait until that all happens again. I know that some people are announcing tours in the fall, so just knock on wood that, tours start happening again soon.
Oh my God. I had the actual pleasure of being able to go to 2 concerts at the end of 2020. And it was almost made it worse, because I was just like, I want this all the time again. And, they were good shows. Saving Abel was one. It was a good show. But speaking of the Breaking Ben tour, you and Ben teamed up on this one. You covered Goo Goo Dolls. You covered Iris, which is one of my favorite ballads of all time. But was that something you guys Was that done on the Breaking Ben tour, or was that the seeds planted there, or you guys just meshed so well that you guys, you called him up or he called you up later down the road? Or when did that start to really take place and become a thing that ended up becoming this cover?
Well, I first toured with Breaking Ben in summer of 2018. So that's where I first met Ben and the guys, and then I ended up doing a spring tour with them, and then that whole summer tour with them in summer of 2019. So I really got to know them and played a lot of shows with them. And then around, I would say, the very end of 2019, very beginning of 2020, I had the idea to cover Iris because I've always wanted to cover this song, and I was always told no, and now that I could kind of do whatever I wanted, I was like, this is the time, let's go do this song. And Neil had the idea to make it a duet. So I was thinking, which male vocalist would I love to have on this song? And total shot in the dark, I messaged Ben on Instagram, and I said, hey, man, I have this idea. I want to cover Iris by the Goo Goo Dolls, and I would be so honored if you would sing on the song with me. Not even thinking that he would say yes, really. I was just totally just throwing a shot out there, and he replied back saying, yeah, I'd love to. That's actually one of my favorite songs.
Nice.
I'd love to do it. Yes, let's go. And I had already recorded my part of the song, so he was going to just send over his vocals, and we were just going to, match them together. But then Ben had the idea that I should fly out to one of the Breaking Ben shows in Reno and record the vocals with him in real time on the tour bus. And that's exactly what I did.
Oh, nice. Nice. Oh, man, that's awesome. It turned out so good.
Thank you.
When I saw it on the track listing, Iris, that can't be. No, that's just another. I'm like, oh, it is the song. And I got really excited. I screamed in excitement at work, scared everybody. And it's been on repeat. So, but I guess finally, going back to, you're independent. This is all you. How refreshing is it just to have full creative power and control for the most part on what you get to, like you said, you kept getting told no just for to do a cover song and release it. Now, what you want to do, you get to do. This is you. And I almost feel like this is more Diamante than Coming in Hot is, because this is everything that you wanted to put out,
Yeah, that's exactly it. I think American Dream is so Diamante because there were no restrictions or limitations. On Coming in Hot, I didn't get to decide which songs made the album, which songs didn't make the album. I didn't get to decide who I wanted to collaborate with. I didn't get to decide a lot of things. This time around, it was really me, Howard, and Neil just working as a team. And because there was no label, there was no A&R, we didn't really have to answer to anybody. It was just us saying, which songs do we think are the strongest? Which do we think need tweaking? Which should we maybe pass on? And I was able to decide which songs came out at what time and in what order, and really tell my story this time. So, yeah, it was liberating, it was exciting, but then there's the other side of the coin where it's scary, because if it all goes wrong, there's nobody to blame but me.
Is it more work doing it independently than it is with a major label, or is it about the same?
I would say that it is more work independently just because I'm so hands-on. So, you look at the album cover, and I sat for hours conceptualizing that cover and really designing. I picked the font, I picked the color. I was in control of designing my own photo shoot for the album.
Nice.
I built my own website. I'm doing my own graphics. It really is super hands-on. And even the music video is what was really cool is I was able to really collaborate with the director, Nayib Ramos, and create the treatments together. So I love being hands-on, and I love being involved, and it's my passion. So I love doing it, but it definitely is more work.